My name is Rishav, and I'm going to be talking about the clinical development for Retrovir. For the phase 1 of the clinical trials, 24 healthy volunteers were selected randomly, and it was an open label study, and it had a 2-way crossover and 14-day washout period, meaning the treatment wasn't given again until 14 days for each patient, and 15 blood samples were collected before and after the dosing, and it was a single dose, and also the blood was analyzed using high performance liquid chromatography. So for pharmacokinetics here, so it was basically, we're looking at the dose ranges of like 30, 60, 50 milligrams per 5 milliliters in the healthy adults for phase 1. Okay. Now, the results for phase 1 were that it's well tolerated in the healthy volunteers, minimal side effects, and those side effects include like anemia and also neutropenia, and it turns out to be consistent in all the other phases. So in the phase 2 study, there are 3 centers and 3 dosage regimens. It was infused at 80, 120, and 160 milligram per meter squared per dose. And it was intravenous and oral dosage were given every 6 hours for 1 to 2 months. Phase 2 results, adverse effects, of course, as I mentioned before, are neutropenia and anemia in patients. And this was seen because the patients that were participating in the phase 2 study, their neutrophils appeared to be less in number, and their red blood cells also appear to be less in number, which describes them as being anemic and neutropenic. And dosage adjustments were obviously made for that to address those effects. So on to the bigger study, which is phase 3. So it was double-blind and it's placebo-controlled, all right? And so the primary endpoint here is the treatment, because we want to see if Retrovir is the treatment for like HIV. And our secondary endpoint here is safety in people that have HIV. As you can see through the inclusion criteria here, that HIV plus is obviously a major factor for people that are participating in the phase 3 study. And the CD4 plus cells counts have to be like this, and the screening viral load has to be exactly to this demand. And both endpoints apparently are successfully met according to the study. And the age requirement was to be at least 18 years old. And the dosage appeared to be at lower ranges for optimal effect, for everybody to not have any side effects, well, at least minimal side effects. So 300 milligrams taken twice a day. Alright, so now on to the pharmacoeconomic data. Well, okay, side effects, as I mentioned before, is this anemia, neutropenia, and hepatotoxicity, like toxic cells, and then you have cardiomyopathy and myopathy. And all of these have been seen in very minimal amounts because of the proper dosage study. All right, and now the pharmacoeconomic trial. So in terms of cost effectiveness, the average wholesale price of 300 milligrams taken twice a day of Retrovir is, as shown, $286.72. So that is actually showing favorable cost effectiveness. And another reason for why this may be is because people with HIV are given very good hospital care. And so in terms of like its economics and its trials and for minimal side effects, Retrovir deserves to be like an FDA approved drug, and it is highly competitive among the other HIV treatments because of its proper cost effectiveness and also for its amazing demonstrations in clinical trials.